All right. We just watched Lucha Underground Season 3, Episode 12.
See.
We're doing this like spoiler free, so despite the fact that it broadcast like a while ago, we've avoided the spoilers. We are able to kind of review this as if it was the first time, as if it was a live performance.
Indeed. I thought you meant we were going to be spoiler free. I'm like, I didn't sign up for that. I'm going to spoil the shit out of this.
Oh, no. We get to spoil shit. I mean, we haven't. We were watching it without the idea of who would win.
See.
All right. I mean, to a degree, we kind of always know who's going to win in wrestling, but not in this case.
When it's done correctly, we have no idea.
Exactly. So the episode opened up. We got a recap of the White Rabbit Tribe, aka Paul London, on copious amounts of drugs, and with a giant codpiece.
That was awesome. He's going like Liberace meets Blackadder.
Pretty much. We had a look at the Killshot Dante Fox feud, which we assumed was going to get another chapter, and that indeed did happen. Mm-hmm. We had basically kind of just a recap of Aztec Warfare, the elimination of Matanza, as well as the victory of Sexy Star, and of course, the triumphant return of Angelico.
Gee.
Sadly, no Angelico on the show.
I think he's still theoretically slightly injured.
It's quite possible. The show proper opened up with, a Lucha band playing, as well as Vampiro and Stryker doing some comedic beatings. And we got into a match for the Lucha Underground Trios title, which is pretty impressive to start that off with that, to be honest.
Yeah, and it was a really good match. I thought they did quite well I think Paul London's the only person who had, or it was his first time.
Yeah, I believe it was Paul London's first time and everyone else. Anyways, the match was the White Rabbit Tribe, consisting of Paul London, Male Suerta, and Saltador, versus the Trios champions Drago, Phoenix, and Aerostar. For those who are unaware, if you would watch the prior bits of Lucha Underground, it is generally considered that Saltador is the wrestler who played both Mariachi Loco and Sinestro de la Muerte, and it is Mr. Cisco who is Male Suerta.
Dude.
So the match was pretty good, just a lot of good work, some comedy spots, particularly from the White Rabbits. Good energy, good starting match. Anything else to say, Mark?
I thought this was Cisco's best match ever that I've ever seen. I also like the giant hoop earring that's embedded in his mask. And I thought that overall, very good match. I enjoyed it. And that's about all.
Pretty much. You knew that the titles weren't going to change hands on a debut match, so that was, I suppose, a minor negative. At the end of the match, during the match, Cobra Moon came out and was, I think she's supposed to be being sexy. I don't know.
She might just be on a lot of Quaaludes.
They could be just a lot of Quaaludes, yeah. So she was doing the thing she basically did with Daga, a continuation of her storyline with Drago, basically with her saying he will bow to her queen. I assume she's referring to her?
I don't think so, but I could be wrong.
No, you think that there's an additional queen?
Yeah, I think she's more of a representative of her tribe, not so much the leader of her tribe.
That could be an interesting way to go with it. Yeah, I would kind of like that. Not sure where that's going to go, other than probably a lot of action in the men's room, because that seems to be where all Drago's storylines end up going. So,
that is true.
There is that. After that, we had Sexy Star and the Mac have a little bit of a run-in backstage. The Mac kind of did the, I should be champion, but no, I'm just really playing with you. Congratulations. So proud of you. You know, super babyface stuff. The one thing I didn't like about it is the fact that when the Mac offered to be in her corner when she fought Johnny Mundo later on, she refused him. And she's done this a number of times where she says, I need to do it on my own, etc., blah, blah, blah. And don't get me wrong, that would be fine if it wasn't for the fact that she's been backed up repetitively by the Lucha Underground Trios champions, who we just referenced, the Mac, and then largely only won Aztec Warfare because of Angelico.
Mm-hmm.
And that's kind of the problem with her continuing to insist upon that, is like, it just doesn't fit with everything else that has happened in her storyline.
Yeah. Well, even when she was doing a solo storyline against Marty the Moth, even then, the Mac had to come in and save her. They've done a good job on an overall storyline, but they've done all the little details wrong. They've tried to portray this strong, independent woman, but the strong, independent woman always has a little help, if not a lot of help, which is fine. You're an adult. You can ask for help. There's nothing wrong with it. But if you're going to play the independence card, be independent. Not like constantly falling into somebody's way.
You could have, to a degree, made this work if she had been like, all right, you can come out with me, but you cannot do anything to Mundo. Like, you can't, the match is mine. You can stop Jack Evans and PJ Black from doing stuff or whatever. That's fine. That's keeping it one-on-one. But to have him not come out there at all, it doesn't work with the rest of what has happened. It works with her dialogue, not with the actual story.
Yeah.
So that wasn't great.
Also, the Mac was not really great in the promo spot. I think it would be a lot better if they just let him free. It felt like he was trying to say lines, and they should have just let him free flow.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Then we moved on to Johnny Mundo in the office with Dario Cueto. This was good. This is a nice revamp.
Almost every single vignette for Lucha Underground is fantastic. I've yet to see a vignette that was not at least pretty good.
It's I mean, the storyline there is pretty simple. Johnny Mundo is well, he's a dick. Mondo is a dick, and Dario Cueto doesn't really like him, but recognizes the money that he represents, and that's kind of about it. So basically, the gist of the story advancement was Johnny's agent/lawyer has filed for a restraining order against Angelico. It has been granted. Angelico can't come near Johnny. And then we got a bit where Johnny said something about Dario not being as dumb as he looks. Dario's like, "What did you say?" He's like, "No, nothing. That's a smart move." And then they left, calling each other both what a jerk.
Yeah, it was really good, really well done, really well edited, really well delivered. Basically everything about it was just really damn good.
Yeah, it was very good. We went back to the ring for Dante Fox. What is his debut singles match in Lucha Underground against Killshot. We were wondering if this would be kind of like a kind of him versus some kind of like enhancement talent to just kind of get him over a little bit in the ring, because they haven't really done that yet. And then have him call out Killshot afterwards. But no, it was right into the Killshot match, which I'm fine with, although I would have let that marinate just a little bit.
Yeah, nobody's really got a handle on who the Dante Fox character is. I would not have pushed him into a program immediately. Like they've already pushed him into a program, which I'm fine with. They've got him in a storyline, but they need to give me a reason to know what the hell this guy's about. And just endless matches against Killshot aren't going to really do that. Although we did get to see more of a diverse moveset in this particular match.
The match itself was really good. I mean, we're expressing our how we would have done it differently, but the match itself, fantastic work by both men. A lot of different cutter spots between both of them, which sets up an interesting rivalry that not only do they have this personal storyline, they also have like almost a cutter deal competition. Could be interesting.
Dueling kicks and dueling cutters.
Yeah, a lot of good kicks as well. A lot of good stuff. There was according to Matt Stryker, it was a Spanish C4. Seated C4.
Spanish Fly and C4 are the different names for the same move. But basically, it was a seated top turnbuckle springboard. I thought it was a flatliner, but I could rewatch it and find out if I'm right or wrong. Because the Spanish Fly basically involves a full flip in the air, whereas the flatliner is just a backwards thing. So if it
And there
was
definitely was not a
Spanish
full. There was no full flip. That's for sure.
yeah, I would be actually more impressed with just the seated springboard flatliner. I thought that would be a better scenario. It's easier to hit and looks like a giant impact. So
Yep, that was probably the highlight right there. There was a bit where Killshot hit a Death Valley driver onto the apron on Dante Fox.
Yeah.
And then he hit another move. Can't remember what it was. I think it was probably cutter. And then he went for the 3 count, and Dante Fox kicked out. I would have probably used that for the finish, just because it ended up. Spoiler: Killshot did win, but or no, Dante Fox won, didn't
he? Yeah, Dante Fox won.
Okay, never mind then. But I probably would have saved that spot for a finish of one of the matches during this feud.
Yeah, basically Dante Fox hit him with everything including the kitchen sink, and Dante Fox kicked out anyway, and now you don't have a finisher anymore. So that was poorly done.
Yeah, so that was a case of, I think, probably going a little bit too far, particularly in this wasn't the blow-off match. Like, there was more to come, and I feel they gave us a little bit too much. And they didn't have to give us this much, because this match could have been great with like 90% of what they did.
Yeah, and it could have been a match that we see like weeks down the line. We don't have to have this match now.
Yep. So some gripes, but a really good match. Probably, I don't know, probably in the 4-star range.
Yeah, I would say so if it was me. Maybe 3.5 to 4, 3 3/4. But it was, I'm not knocking the match at all. The match was really damn good. It was, there was a lot of good counters. There was a lot of anything you could do, I could do better. And
which makes sense since they both have that military background that kind of constitutes their wrestling style.
Exactly. But I think it's something that they could have done later on.
So some good, some bad there. Rolling on, we had the I think this is where the Black Lotus stuff came into play.
I believe so, yeah. This is just a promo.
Yeah, Dario Cueto came backstage to talk. Well, not backstage. I mean, he just went into his office and Black Lotus was there, which brings up the question: Dario Cueto needs to get a freaking Glock for his office. But
no, I'm liking this. I'm fine with it. Although he might want to be careful about his Red Bull statue getting stolen.
Indeed. There should be a storyline with that at some point. So, anyways, we had basically some mystic stuff about the Black Lotus triad or whatever. Lotus triad. I don't know. I think they've used both names for it.
It's the Black Lotus triad. That's not a tribe. They're not Mexican.
Yeah, it's Cobra Moon that has the tribe.
Yeah.
Anyways, kind of a little bit of backstory on the triad without actually really giving us any storyline on the triad. It's kind of your standard secret society badasses, whatever. And it ends up setting up a gauntlet match for Pentagon Dark in the next episode against the 4 members of the triad, Black Lotus plus the 3 ladies she brought with her. And he has to face all 4 of them, win or lose. So, could be good, although, I don't know, I'm never tremendously high on the man-on-woman violence in a match scenario.
Yeah, so far it's just not held up or not delivered.
Yeah, so we'll see. I reserve judgment, but there's definitely some potential problems. Then we basically went to the main event of the night, which was the Lucha Underground title match, champion Sexy Star versus Johnny Mundo. Interestingly enough, they had the champion come out first and the challenger second, which is a little bit of a break from the traditional order of things.
They've done it a couple times. I would be kind of interested to go back and kind of do a tally of how many times they've done it and has the champion lost every single time.
That would be intriguing for sure. Sexy Star lost the title here. And the match itself, quite good. Actually, one of her better matches, in my opinion. I am not a big Sexy Star fan. I have been historically anti her in the sense that I just think they have better female workers on the roster, and I'm not tremendously keen on the idea of the woman on man violence just to begin with, unless you're going to give me something like and this is not like women can't hang with men or whatever. There are women that can. Kong in TNA, for example, when they did her versus men, that worked. It was kind of poorly done because they had AJ Styles overpower at one point, but won't delve too deep into that. But if you're going to do a woman on man story, and they've done a couple of good ones here, I think most of the stuff with Taya has been, for example, really good.
Yeah, she's one of the few that can really go at the same speed as the men. The problem is that she has to slow herself down to actually wrestle with the rest of the women. The women just aren't fast enough. They don't have the reaction time. That's pretty much it.
Mm-hmm. And you see it with even this match. Like, that's probably the slowest we've seen Johnny Mundo work really ever.
Yeah.
It was still good. But sometimes it ends up making the match really kind of poor when the guy has to slow down for Sexy Star.
Yeah, it's pretty obvious because the guy will hit the ropes or do whatever, and then you'll notice him drop a lot of speed coming off the ropes going, okay, where is she?
There were a couple of really good spots in this one. One of the few good spots, uses of like the double stomp with the rope assist, which we usually don't see being any good. To be clear, it's what Alberto Del Rio was using as his finisher in WWE in his last run, with the guy holding himself up with the ropes and then you double stomp him, and it doesn't really work usually because it seems just really, really contrived. Here it was pretty well done with Mundo kind of trying to haul himself up, and she hit him with that. So that was good work. Then action spills to the outside. Johnny goes into the crowd, picks up doing air quotes here, a fan with a crutch, steals the crutch away, tries to hit Sexy Star with it. Sexy Star gets the crutch, backs him back in the ring, and then she goes out to help the fan. The fan attacks her with brass knuckles, and it's Taya. Knocks her out.
They had panned the camera over the crowd earlier in the match and stuck on Taya wearing a luchador mask, and then held the camera on Taya for a good 5-10 seconds, just in case you didn't get the message that there's going to be a fuck finish.
Yeah, that was a bit much. Anyways, she's knocked out, so she eats the Starship Pain, aka the End of the World, which was botched pretty badly by Mundo.
Yeah.
Which was pretty bad because he got to, he's dragging his unconscious opponent to place her in position for his signature move, and he placed her way too close, and he overshot hard. And I was thinking that even when he went up, when he stopped pulling her and he went up, I'm like, she is too close. And then sure enough, he comes off and he overshoots badly.
Yeah, it wasn't very good. It's something that I've seen happen in other matches with guys that are doing moonsault type maneuvers, and I never understood why they don't just, they can see that they're overshooting the mark. Just raise your arm up and turn it into an elbow drop, and suddenly you've got a shooting star elbow drop, or you've got a moonsault, split-legged moonsault elbow drop. It's a different variation, and it might actually look cooler, and you don't look like you botched the move.
You had a theory about where this could potentially go, if you want to walk us through that.
Yeah, I thought that the introduction of the brass knuckles were theoretically interesting. Depending on if they want to keep it in their back pocket for a later storyline, because Mundo was back in the ring and fucking with the ref, and he knows, in character, he would have known that Taya was a plant and she was there and she was going to interfere. But maybe, if they want to keep it in their back pocket, he doesn't know that she used the brass knuckles, that he's only champion because, she didn't just hit Sexy Star or kick her or whatever with her busted ass leg, but used a much more formidable weapon, and therefore later on he finds out and his ego can't take it, and then either he does a face turn or you actually brought up the fact that she might be able to do a face turn of her own. Like he starts neglecting her, and she's like, "Listen, the only reason you're a champion, motherfucker, is because I used brass knuckles." And then she gets to do a face turn. But I don't know if that's something they have planned. Again, they paused. They paused the camera kind of long on the weapon. They didn't have to do that, so it's just a thought that occurred to me. It may be nothing, but it's something that I would take advantage of because I'm not an idiot.
I like it for a Taya face turn, but for a Johnny face turn, I wouldn't be particularly.
Yeah.
I would not be a fan.
Yeah, well, again, depends on how they play it psychologically. Yeah, I would be okay with it either way, introduced as a storyline gimmick.
Mm-hmm. It definitely it makes things interesting. It does, and I don't know if they'll ever really break up the Worldwide Underground. It seems to be a thing they want to keep working with.
Mm-hmm.
Also, just because of the way Lucha Underground works, they don't necessarily seem to have to do as many heel face turns.
Yeah, they can just get somebody else in.
Because, like, for example, I mean, how many people have actually even turned from face to heel or heel to face in Lucha history?
Trying to come up with anybody.
You've got Johnny Mundo. He did start out. He was a face.
Chavo.
Chavo. I guess nominally Cage kind of turned from being a heel to a tweener.
Yeah. And the Mac. Mac was a heel with the Big Rick.
That's true. Same with Killshot.
Mm-hmm.
But not that many for 3 seasons.
Yeah, that is correct.
That's because, of course, they keep bringing in new talent, and therefore you kind of refresh the feuds, refresh how things are done. Which, I mean, it's an advantage that Lucha Underground has that a place like WWE doesn't have, is the fact that you can continuously get some fresh feuds going. You don't have to revisit things. And when you do revisit things, because you're not always revisiting them, it makes them a big deal.
Correct.
So that was Lucha Underground Season 3, Episode 12. We'll be watching Episode 13 next week. And that's going to be... It looks like it's just going to be Pentagon Dark versus the ladies, which...
Yeah, that sounds like it might take up a whole episode.
I mean, that could be good. It could also be really bad. We'll see.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, these are Japanese workers, so they know how to work. But I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. I'm very kind of nervous for the next episode. That's all from Mike and Byron this time around. And join us next time. I assume probably our next one will be reviewing more WWE stuff for next week.
What about Best of the Super Juniors?
Could also be that. Depends how the timing works out.
I thought that's all we were doing this weekend. We were just watching Best of the Super Juniors.
We're watching it. I don't know if we're reviewing it this weekend.
We'll just watch it all until we throw up.
All right. See you whenever we are next recording.
Correct.